Good evening, everyone. My name is Laura Schifrin, and I will call the meeting to order of the Planning Board, January 13th, 2025 at 6:31 p.m. Can everyone introduce themselves as present?
Carol Hofstas.
Barbara Therian.
Mike Kowalczyk. Andrew Shepherd.
Laura Schifrin. Would you join me in the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank all of our veterans and all of those currently serving, as well as our first responders. And special prayers for California. Okay, the meeting is being recorded and will appear on our YouTube channel for Townsend. Is anyone else recording the meeting? As far as additions and deletions, I no, I don't have any to the agenda. Anybody else? Okay. And 1.5 chairman's announcements. Going to announce that my term ends April 25, and I won't be taking out papers for the next term. And so I just want to announce to everyone out there as well, is there are volunteer positions still available on almost every board in town. And everybody would look forward to having more people volunteer so that some don't have to do as much as they do. And okay, that's for April. So let's go to the minutes that Beth did send us. And we have the minutes for October 21st, 2024 and November 4th, 2024. Any comments about the minutes? Do I hear a motion? Do you want them together? Do you want them separately?
I do. I'll abstain from the October because I wasn't present.
Okay, all right.
But
I'll make a motion. I'll entertain a motion for October 21st, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 21st, 2024.
And is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a quorum that voted aye. Andrew will abstain. And now I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of November 4th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of November 4th, 2024.
Is there a second?
second.
Andrew seconded. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and aye. Thank you for that. 2.1 A&R plan and application Greenville Road. So all the papers are filled out. This has been approved, and now we have the plan here for us to sign each of the copies and the Mylar with the.
So all the corrections have been done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want? Okay.
The ones that Adam had talked about with the wetlands?
Sure. So my name is Kevin Conover. I'm from David Ross Associates, and I represent ADST Realty LLC. We're proposing a 5-lot A&R on the northerly side of Greenville Road. We originally submitted the plan, I believe, last week. Beth had it go out for a review. She had some small comments, wanted additions to the plan. She wanted a legend added to the plan. She wanted the acreages for each lot with the bodies of water, without the bodies of water, and the total bodies of water. We've added that to the plan. She also had a comment regarding the easement that's across a portion of lot number 1, and I made a statement that that's not going to impede any frontage or any access or anything. Those notes are on the plan. I put a revision note on the plan stating that it was revised last week with the planning board's instructions. I have smaller copies of the plan if anybody wants to look at it in front of them instead of leaning over somebody's shoulder. And they just kind of highlighted it. The lots are not your normal, but they still conform with the frontage and area requirements in the town.
Thank you.
So we believe it's worthy of an A&R endorsement this evening because of those facts. Again, all the lots have frontage and areas outlined in the zoning district. And all the lots have access to their frontage.
Madam Chair, this is Beth Baxton. May I just make one comment?
Sure.
There is an easement that runs through, is it lot 5, Kevin?
A portion of lot
Yeah.
5, lot
Four.
3, and lot 4, I believe, yeah.
That easement goes to the town recycling center, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
All right. And that's perfectly fine with the board and the town. I don't know what the rules are on that. Is there any necessary paperwork, or do you need that?
As you emailed me today, Beth, I brought a copy of the deed, the current deed of locust property, and it makes reference to this right-of-way. And I copied, there's a note on the plan stating that where the right-of-way is described, where it's recorded at the registry of deeds. And since it's not very specific in terms of its location, I basically copied the exact description in the deed to talk about what rights that were applied to that easement originally. So as a surveyor, I can't determine rights, who has rights over what. But since it's kind of vague in nature, I reproduced the exact verbiage of the deed and it's on the plan.
Oh, thank you. So that remains with the property, that easement, I assume.
That's correct.
Okay, thanks.
And that would be a burden on all the lots.
So what this right of way that Beth's talking about is this one that crosses from Greenville Road going over lot 5, a portion of lot 4 and a portion of lot 3.
Right.
It's just a gravel road that goes to the old, and that provides access to the back portion of the property. And again, it's described in the current deed, it's described in the previous deed. And I also have a copy of the deed prior to that where it originated, I assume. So we did, we did do our due diligence to determine where that came from and description of it.
So just a question. The easement was for the town?
I believe so, yeah. So anytime you need to cross over somebody else's property, you need an easement or rights to do that. So I believe the specifics of the deed doesn't really talk about, that's the old landfill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. It doesn't really specifically talk about that being the use of it, but it does describe the rights to cross over those properties. So.
Yeah, I believe it said something about vehicles being able to pass through
Exactly.
the property.
So typically what they'll say is the right to pass and repass. That's a typical description of any rights over somebody else's property. And that's exactly what it says. And again, that note is on the plan. I'm also referencing the book and page on the plan where the easement is or where the gravel drive is, just to alert anybody else as well.
I'm puzzled by the lot configuration.
Yeah, it is kind of peculiar. That's kind of why I highlighted it for you. There is no lot shape requirement in the town of Townsend. So each one of these lots have a required 200 feet of frontage and 3 acres.
I see that.
It does. So it's an attempt to get the most usage out of the property while still conforming to the regulations. So again, since Townsend doesn't have a lot shape factor for the peculiarity of the lots, it conforms to their records. We have seen plans endorsed by the board previously in the last 2 or 3 years that have something similar to this where it's not your standard, square rectangle.
Well, that's
lot.
usually the explanation.
Exactly. So,
We have a lot of areas with lots that look like this.
right.
My first time seeing one like this.
So I agree, it is kind of strange in its configuration, but they all conform to the frontage and area requirements.
And the intent is to build single-family homes on these?
Exactly. Any other questions?
Have you gone to the Conservation Commission for
So
wetlands crossings?
So we're not crossing any wetlands. We're not proposing any crossing any wetlands. We do have approved septic system design for lot number 2. All the work proposed is outside of the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction. So we don't have any soil testing or septic system designs for the other lots, nor do we need them for this approval. But
Okay, I'm just reading the attorney's comment. It says lot 3's frontage is situated entirely within the 200-foot buffer zone to a river, that is Mason Brook. The town's wetland bylaw prohibits any alteration within such 200-foot buffer zone, absent Conservation Commission approval. So I'm not really sure what all that means.
Oh, if I might, Madam Chair, the planning board does not look for an approval from conservation before endorsing an A&R. So that will be afterwards, yeah.
Okay,
So the planning board is only looking at acreage and frontage, and the plan is compliant in both.
okay, all right.
And I'm sorry, one more thing. If there is illusionary frontage or preventage to frontage, which this plan does not show.
Okay, go back to the illusory frontage. Was it supposed to show it, or does it matter?
No, we're referring, if there are any obstructions to frontage, then they would need to be showed on the map. They could be guardrails, they could be natural features, anything that would prevent access to the lot. And there is nothing on this plan that shows that I saw anyway.
Okay.
Any other comments? It is an A&R. And you do have to have highest and best use.
What is it?
Doesn't mean that they will be built on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and just a reminder, board members only can vote on this. It's not a special permit. I know you.
We have 4 of the 5 sitting.
Yeah, I mean, you're just approving, what you're voting on is a vote to approve to endorse the A&R plan as presented. And it's not a majority, I mean, it's a majority, I guess, but yeah,
So
simple
I
majority.
Move we vote to approve the A&R plan
As
in front of us
presented.
as presented
And endorse.
and endorse.
And endorse it.
I'll
Aye.
second it.
Okay, Andrew made the motion, Carol seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. We have 4 ayes.
thank you.
Can I interrupt one more time, please? The Mylar, if there is a felt tip pen for you to sign the Mylar, you can give it to the Tocachis today.
Yeah. Okay,
Beth, do you need the topographic plan signed by the board as well?
Nope, they'll sign the other ones, but those are all for us. You need the Mylar for recording. So if they could do that for you, you could have it tonight and take it with you.
Right. So here's a
Yeah.
Sharpie. If you want to use that one, it's a more finer tip than this.
okay. You should prefer that. Okay, so we can just do this one now.
Thank you.
Yep.
Beth, do I date it?
Yes, thank you.
Each one. And then we'll take care of signing once they have them, my warrant. We can sign the others before we leave. So that's done?
Yep, it's all done.
Okay. All right, thank you, and good luck. Work session, 3.1, planning board draft report to follow. Attendees and planning board draft report to okay. Any comments? Did you guys get to read the final of the warrant?
Of the warrant,
Oh,
the warrant article
Yeah.
for the
That's
ATU.
what's- These are all three.
all three of them. Yes.
So if I could just jump in here too, the planning board will need to prepare a report to town meeting on each one of the articles. You can do that tonight, or I can draft them and circulate them. However, the next planning board meeting is on the 27th, and the following night is town meeting.
Beth, if you drafted them, could you circulate them via email ahead of time?
I can do that. Yep, I haven't drafted them yet, but you guys, if you have comments right now you wanted to make, that's fine. I can incorporate them, and yeah, I can do that.
Great,
Great,
thank you.
thank you.
Okay,
Oh, you're welcome.
so. This is gonna be a quick meeting, I think. So now we're at correspondence, reports, discussions.
So the next planning board meeting is on the 27th, correct?
27th. This I'm doing. This,
Town meeting's 28th.
yeah, it's Monday and Tuesday, January.
I'll make the planning board meeting. I'll be late to the town.
Give you. And Mr. Boyle is here. Mr. Boyle, did you want to make some comments this evening?
Yeah, I was here for the discussion about DLTA, about the plans for next year's DLTA. If you had any questions or want to talk about that.
It's under correspondence.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna.
And it is time sensitive, right, Joe?
Yeah, somewhat in that there's a due date in February.
Thank
I
you.
apologize, I don't have things like in order here. Okay, sure. I will give this to you under correspondence, and then we can talk to Mr. Doyle first.
Okay. So we have a letter from Karen Chapman, Planning and Development Director, the District Local Technical Assistance calls for a proposal, DLTA. Please see attached the calls for proposals for your community under the Massachusetts Department of Housing and Livable Communities District Local Technical Assistance Program for the MRPC's 18th year of DLTA funds from the state budget. There are 5 categories of topics available for this year's funding: MBTA Communities Technical Assistance, planning ahead for housing, planning ahead for growth, supporting the community compact cabinet, and housing choice initiative. Each of these categories is explained and examples are given in the calls for proposals, and instructions are included as to how your community can apply for these funds. Once applications are submitted and reviewed, recommendations for awards will be made to the commissioners for a vote to approve funding. The schedule for rounds 1 and 2 can be found in the table below. Round 1, proposal project dates due to MRPC, midnight Tuesday, February 4th for round 1, and the funding vote by commissioners would be February 6th, and then round 2, if needed, midnight Wednesday, April 1st, and the vote by the commissioners would be April 3rd. And then this is this a letter from Joe? Joe, or this has your name on it. I'll read it. It says, please provide your written comments here. I suggest authorizing a maximum number of bedrooms in the.
That was regarding the accessory dwelling units. May have been sent as that was an email that I sent into the board, but it's not about this.
Yeah.
Somebody, I don't remember who, but somebody had requested a copy of the comments I was sending in. I think the comment period ended January 10th.
Yep. That was me. It like she said, the correspondence is not in order, and we apologize. But that was a later topic in correspondence.
Oh, okay.
So this is dated January 6th. So I'll put this aside then. But that's all I have in front of me.
Okay, so this is also MRPC, which is here's another one that's dated 6, which is from I think it's Katie.
From Sherry Bean.
Oh,
Senior
Sherry,
Planner.
yeah, MRPC.
This one from MRPC, they are beginning the early stages of developing the upcoming FFY. What is FFY? Fiscal year, something fiscal? 2026 unified.
Yeah, fiscal year.
There's 2 Fs though. What's the second F?
Future fiscal year.
Oh, okay. Future fiscal year, 2026. Unified Planning Work Program, UPWP. The UPWP for the Montechusett Metropolitan Planning Organization, MPO, is a financial programming tool developed annually as part of the federally certified transportation and transit planning process. This document contains task descriptions of the transportation and transit planning program of the MPO with associated budget information and funding sources for the current program year. The purpose of the UPWP is to ensure a comprehensive, cooperative, and continuing 3C transportation planning process in the Leominster-Fitchburg urbanized area and the Montechusett region. In addition, this document provides for the coordination of planning efforts between communities in the Montechusett region. If your community has a specific project need, please let us know. Example tasks may include intersection studies, corridor analysis, walkability and/or bikeability studies, trail planning, safety analysis, freight truck issues, transit-related studies. If you have any questions, please reach out. Please note these studies are funded through transportation planning contract with the Mass DOT and do not require the use of any local funds. In addition, some of these studies can be utilized as background information for communities to initiate a project with Mass DOT, leading to improvements in your community.
So, Shipman, may I provide an update?
Yeah.
May I just, a recommendation and an update. I would recommend that the board probably not apply this year, since you and I just attended the meeting for the corridor analysis, which is underway for Route 119. Would you agree, Chair Schifrin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to report on that too, and slip my mind. But as we're talking about MRPC, we had a meeting this afternoon at 1:00 with MRPC, several people from MRPC, and it was Beth, myself, and Nelson. And it's a grant that we got to study from Edward Road past the high school, down to Proctor Road.
To Proctor Road.
Yeah. And the outline of how that's gonna happen. And so we're looking forward to more, but a lot of us had input too today.
Yeah.
To MRPC. So.
And that's this program. That is a UPWP program grant. So I think Townsend has had plenty of attention there. Yeah. But if you wouldn't mind, Erin has just arrived, and she is our new land use coordinator. And I wanted to, if possible, talk about DLTA because as Joseph is here as well, our last DLTA contracts have expired December 31st. And I imagine the board would like to continue working with MRPC on the ADU, on, different projects. So Joe, can you, kind of let us know where we stand in terms of the contracts and fill Erin in now?
Okay. Okay. Well, we currently have 3 irons in the fire. The first was the DLTA for the MBTA Communities Act project. We're recommending that you come in with that you request another one so that we can continue that project and finish that out in calendar year 2025.
Okay, thanks.
The second one is the ADU, and MRPC appears, as far as I can tell, to be done with that. We have gotten your ADU bylaw and the language ready for the town meeting, and hopefully it goes into effect, and we can put that one away. Number 3, we have the PAG grant, the Planning Assistance Grant that we applied for. You applied for to revise the site plan review special permit. We're surprised that they haven't made the announcement about that. We've been waiting, thinking it was coming any day since Thanksgiving. So it's coming any day, and we'll be starting that, and I'll be working on that with you, as well as finishing out MBTA. And I think that will keep us busy, at least for the beginning part of the year.
Okay.
Did the board or did the town hall have any other projects that they were thinking about coming in for?
Should we re-request the site plan review special permit with the MBTA as a re-request or for this year?
No, the site plan review special permit is in for a PAG, not DLTA. Okay. So we're just waiting to hear about that PAG, and I think there's a good I expect we'll get it. It's just a matter of time, and so I think that will keep us busy for at least half the year or so.
Okay, understood. All right.
Or might even take us through next year, depending on these MBTA projects can encounter setbacks.
All right. So let me get this straight. You want us to reapply for MBTA communities work,
right?
And that's it right now. Okay.
Well, I just wanted to ask you: did the board or town hall have anything beyond those 2 that they were thinking about?
Well, we have not made any decisions yet, but the conversation has arrived about tiny home type of ordinances that we might want to consider and changing our bylaws. So we don't have a consensus of an intent to do that yet or not, but I think it was on discussion here that we should be thinking about where we want to go with that, what ideas or what we want to pursue. In discussing the MBTA stuff and those conversations, that subject came up then when we were considering the site at the south end of town on Route 13. We don't have a consensus of how the town would support or not support that?
Well, if I may, Robert, at the, maybe at the hearing on Thursday night, it was stated about, the affordable came up again, and how if, especially the 55 and over, age restricted, those houses they're coming in at market value, but they're not tiny homes either.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So I personally think it's a great idea if we could formulate something that might appeal to the town. We're still up against the same things. Sandy soil for better septic systems, town water, because MBTA, they're not going to let you do without town water. But you could have more smaller, tiny homes, which would be denser. Okay, if again, the septic systems are approved. So if you could work out or check into some other communities where they have tiny homes and see would we have to apply separately for that?
Well, yes. And what I would suggest is where we have the MBTA work and the site plan review special permit to take up at least the first part of the year, that rather than applying for DLTA for this, that we find another program. And MRPC can help you with the application depending on who the applicant is. And as what your next project is going to be becomes more clear, we'll apply for grant funding for that to pick up working on that after we finish out site plan review special permit.
Okay, so then there's nothing else we can really do now. We'd have to wait after 6 months.
We can start immediately looking for grant programs. I'll go back and talk to Karen if you like this idea of finding another grant program for tiny homes.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. I'll go back. I'll talk to Karen. I'll talk to Bernie, our new principal planner. He's not even that new anymore, but he's really a great guy too. And we'll find find some good options.
Answer.
And then we'll work on that. I don't know, starting a few months out.
So what is preventing, we'll use this lot right here because it's right here in front of me, but what would be preventing someone from putting 4 tiny homes on lot 4 here? It's 3 acres. You can fit a 4-bedroom septic. They can share a septic system. What's stopping them from doing that
We
today?
don't have a bylaw that allows it.
Wouldn't they have to just apply
We'd
for
have to-
a variance of some sort?
We have to define it and present it to town meeting to change any zoning in town.
Can they just apply for a variance or an exception?
No.
One
I
of the
don't-
things I learned a long time ago was just because it's omitted doesn't mean it's permitted. So it's like, it would be up to us to present a bylaw that would allow it. And since I think it's a good piggyback to the complaints about affordable housing. Because really, and I have no idea, but I know that like the Chelmsford area, Dunstable area, of course, they're denser and they have public water, public sewer. Okay, so we still have that private sewer thing to deal with. But I think maybe it's time for a bylaw to allow it. And again, we're only the planners.
Right.
We're not the triggers. So I think the options should be out there. If people can find land and that's
They
sandy and
can
there's town
technically
water.
deliver everything that's needed. I think we can't,
Mr. Doyle wanted to say something, okay?
I'm sorry.
He had his hand up.
Yeah.
Mr. Doyle did.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to answer this question about variances. A lot of towns, they use variances. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but sometimes they use variances as just sort of a general outlet for things that they want to allow that aren't in their zoning. That's not really a very sound practice. Under state law, variances are only supposed to be given out in certain very restrictive circumstances when there's something unique about the lot, about the shape of the land, and it's something that's unique to that land that doesn't generally affect the properties in the district. And the important upshoot of this is if a town gives out a variance that doesn't meet all of those standards, it can do that. But if that permit got challenged by a neighbor or by anybody else, it's going down. The courts will not uphold variances that are handed out like that. Things that are meant to be permitted should be permitted by special permit or site plan review or allowed by right or something under the zoning. So if the desire is to allow something, it's best to write up a special permit or site plan review section in your zoning specifically to allow that for that reason. And also because then you can put in some standards and some procedures and stuff about that are specific to that particular use or design or type of project to control how they're going to be. So if you want those, the right way to go is to try to get a special permit.
And the other reason is that people saying they're talking about the elderly being able to stay in town. So you don't need big homes for the elderly.
Mhm.
So it just may be time.
I think one of our projects should be to try to create a bylaw or recommend areas of town where this could happen, create some standards for it so the public can consider it. The first thing is I would expect that we might want to do a poll to see how much interest there is in the community promoting such a program, you know.
Can we do that at town meeting, like a yes, no vote, like, yes, this is interesting, or no, not interesting?
Well, the town meeting would be for the town to,
Yeah, no, we don't want to do it because we could go to midnight talking just so that one.
Well, it would only be a poll.
yeah,
wouldn't be a
it's
discussion.
not a town meeting thing. It
No,
would be
it would be a thought
a
and what do
public
you think
forum,
and yay and nay
That's it.
kind of thing.
right. So,
Yeah, maybe.
Not a-
so the idea is if there's enough support for that concept, then this board should probably take action to try to develop a bylaw that would meet that can be presented to the town for approval. So
That's finally a good idea.
I think our job or our initial steps would be to see how much support there would be for that.
Or maybe the thing is to go down the senior center and hold a.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah, because if you're targeting seniors, what better place to go than the senior
Well, I
center?
can tell you, I've been to the senior center.
I go every week.
Majority of the participants there are not from town.
I think houses
that's
are great,
true.
not just for seniors, but even just for recreation.
Yeah, they
We
have a lot of good
all-
things
All
going
sorts of
on.
recreation opportunities.
They
I
have
rented
a
tiny
lot of
houses
good.
before, they're fun.
Well, we have social media we can approach too.
I will say, whenever I've done a digital survey in the town, I mean, there's 10, I think it's like maybe 8 or 9,000 residents now.
Yeah.
I've only ever been
Under
able to
nine.
get maybe 100, maybe.
Oh, that would be a lot.
That would be a
Well,
but I
that
guess-
would be a lot,
That
yeah.
would be a
yeah,
lot.
you know,
It's better than 20.
yeah. But I think it'd be tough to get, we'll have to see what the sample size, you know.
Well, look at how many, what's a quorum for a town
75.
meeting?
Sure.
So on the whole
75.
thing,
Yeah.
you only need 75. So if you
Yeah,
got 100, we're on.
Yeah. All right, there you go.
There you go.
All right.
But sometimes getting those 75 people to show up is a hard
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, sure. Fair enough.
Okay, so do you have your marching orders on that, or you're gonna find out from Karen where we go now?
Yeah, I'm gonna find out for Karen where she thinks we should apply. I'll let you know about the options and the time frame. But we'll close out MBTA and fix your site plan review first. And as we're halfway through those, we'll have a better idea about what we're going to do after that.
Okay, very
Very
good.
good, thank you.
Erin, any comments or questions for Mr. Doyle?
So I was just thinking about a couple of things. I know that the Affordable Housing Trust brought to you all an affordable housing bylaw that we were considering for maybe annual town meeting. That might be something to also consider looking at a little bit closer. That would be helping to create more affordable housing in town, which would create not only more housing but also help with finding housing for people in like the age restricted housing and things like that. So that could be something to really look at. And I'm curious, are you all specifically interested in tiny houses, or are you more interested in having more density so that you can have more homes on a parcel, for instance?
Well, I think we've had ways of doing that through 40B. That already exists for regular homes, okay? But I think what we have now, after all the discussions and, the not being able to have affordable housing units, increasing, that specifically going for tiny homes or whatever the square footage is of them, and specifically being for, I don't want to say the elderly, but that could be age restricted as well. Currently, our age restricted is market.
Right.
And there's not enough, the lot sizes the way they are and the structures the way they are, there's not enough land to do an affordable with it and still make it profitable for a developer. So I don't know, Mr. Doyle, I mean, if you're looking to do a bylaw that is strictly for affordable housing, I would be hesitant to have anything that was very restrictive, because you need to make something that's welcoming to a developer to do. The developers that come in are not the government.
Sure.
Okay, they can do whatever they want, wherever they want, and however much it costs, because it's our money. But in this case, it's not. You're talking about a private enterprise coming in and doing affordable housing.
Yeah, so the bylaw that I believe you all took a look at, but maybe it didn't actually, you were all very busy and doing other things. This was a couple months ago now. So it may have come across your desk and been put on the back burner because special town meeting was coming up and you had other things that were a little bit more pressing.
Where was that drafted?
It's the inclusionary bylaw, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so it is in the board's meeting minutes, but I don't know that would be quite applicable to DLTA. I think that's already been, basically you've written the bylaw. I guess we could have town council review what's been written, but I can't see that would fit under DLTA. Could I be wrong on that, Joe? I'm not sure. It's basically they rewrote a bylaw. They edited a current
The
bylaw.
Housing Trust rewrote the bylaw.
Well,
do I have that right? The Housing Trust rewrote the bylaw?
Yes, I rewrote the bylaw for the Housing Trust.
Correct. And so that definitely doesn't apply for DLTA, though, I don't think. But.
I don't understand why it wouldn't. And for affordable housing, planning projects and zoning projects would.
Okay, well, you could review it, but it's already been written. So.
Oh, I see.
I don't know how that would be a DLTA project.
Oh, I see. You're asking what work I would do on it. Yeah, that's a good question. What would I do?
Yeah, it's already been done, right, Erin?
So I was just, yes, I was just wondering if that is something that the planning board would be interested in further exploring.
No.
That's all I was wondering.
Oh, unrelated to DLTA.
Yes, sorry.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, we were talking about DLTA. So, all right.
So,
another discussion.
Can you put that on a future meeting for us? Just a note that we review it and we're going to discuss it in a work session.
Yes.
But we would be discussing the Housing Trust bylaw, not ours. I'm not sure. So is the housing, well, in a way, the housing trust is a separate entity, right or wrong?
Separate entity from what?
The town.
They are a part of the town. They are quasi related to the housing authority. They work hand in hand. So they are a part of the town, but they're like, for instance,
The housing authority.
I'm sorry?
They're a child of the housing authority.
Sort of, yes.
Yes. So I guess I'm confused about who writes the bylaw. I don't mean the staff. I mean, who writes the bylaws? The bylaws are supposed to, I thought, be produced at the planning board.
I thought so too.
Yes, I believe what the idea was that there were suggested things that could come to the planning board. So I believe this was discussed with Jessica Consalvo when she was the land use coordinator, and she suggested making the changes to bring to the planning board as sort of an idea and see how you all felt about it, so that we could see if this was something that the planning board was interested in.
So this is a draft
Draft.
to be presented to us for review?
Which she already has sent us.
Already got it.
We'll resend it and have it for our next meeting.
Okay.
Or 2 meetings from now, depending on what, what we have the day before town meeting. But then we can work session it, and if any of the housing trusts want to come to that meeting, and you, Erin, and we can have a work session on it and see if we think it's worth putting into our bylaws. I will, if it's feasible. Okay, well, that's a good idea. Anything else?
We still talking about DLTA?
Yeah.
So one of the priority activities for CY25 is planning ahead for growth. If you look at the description for planning ahead for growth, I think one of those things sound pretty interesting to Townsend. For example, so it's just an example project at a city or town's request, identifying economic development projects subject to the, nope, just kidding, not that. We get a lot of infrastructure issues, but there was something in here about infrastructure and planning for infrastructure upgrades in the future and how to go about improving them and upgrading them.
Did we have something in the works, and you can check with Karen on this, regarding economic development from Townsend?
Oh, here, identifying challenges and solutions in respect to infrastructure requirements that affect the ability to advance economic development activities.
I can give them all the challenges.
We got lots of challenges.
So is that something that would work? Because we don't really have a lot of economic development. But that is the future, and DLTA addresses it. Future growth.
You want to take that, Joe?
I'm not really sure what the question is. What I should take.
You're looking for topics of stuff to work on. Patrick just mentioned that what some of the reasons for DLTA resources are, and one of them is economic development.
Yes.
In the future. So we don't have any here.
Economic development future?
Yeah. We don't
do any deliberate economic
There is no
development
deliberate activity
in
for economic development in Townsend.
Oh, okay.
And perhaps there should be a document worked on that would help that. And I'm sure the Board of Selectmen would be in support of that.
That's okay. Yes. That is something that's legitimate to come in with. That's interesting. So, basically, a planning program to identify economic development priorities and restraints. And,
Can you talk to Karen about that and see if anything has, she would know if anything has ever been done in the past for Townsend. It's nothing that's been implemented.
yeah.
So, and we don't have, I don't believe we have specific bylaws for enhancing that.
Right.
And so we may need some adjustment
Uh-huh.
if we wish to do that.
Oh, okay.
But
All right.
if there's DOT for that, then I think we should sign on to that, get help with that, and have
Okay.
something to present, you know, to the leadership of town and the townspeople.
Okay. Now what we're talking about, you've done this before. You send in just it probably comes from the selectman or the town administrator. An expression of interest is the application process.
Expression of interest. Yeah.
Yep. So you're going to be sending in one for the MBTA project and finishing the MBTA project, and you know where you are with that, and that seems pretty easy. This one, it sounds like it's going to take a little bit more thought about what you want to actually say. I'll talk about this with Karen tomorrow, see what ideas they come up with, and she comes up with. Let her know what you've been talking about, and I can get back to you with some suggestions.
Oh, great.
Sounds good.
I'll get back to you, Beth. I know that with these, the turnaround here is a little bit tight. With these due, I think it said the 4th, but so yeah, I'll talk to Karen about that tomorrow, and I'll tell you what she says.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for joining
That is an
us.
interesting idea. I would like to, kind of crack open the topic of economic development for the first time.
Yeah.
And this is really the first planning to have an economic development policy. Starting out, it's an interesting project. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. If you don't need me for anything else, I will be on my way.
All right. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to have Andrew continue with the announcements and correspondence from other towns. We finished with MRPC. And I saw one piece in here. I'm not sure what it's for. It's about FEMA. It's from Katie. It was dated January 10th.
Yep, you can read that if you'd like. That's an update. The flood maps have been released and approved.
Okay. Oh,
So
I'll let
that-
Andrew read.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of reading tonight.
And then I just have one other. So another one that was in the portal was not here. Beth?
I'm sorry?
There was a letter also in the portal, but it's not here.
It's not copied off? You mean Mr. Darian's letter?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not, there's no copy there?
no,
Oh, okay. All right. Erin?
oh, he has a copy.
I have a copy.
Okay, I'll take care of it.
All right, thank you.
All right. Buckle up, everybody.
He's got a lot to read.
Yeah,
Of course, MRPC was the biggest. I
Sure.
mean, that was the most.
I might have bridged some of this, but ultimately it looks like the Massachusetts Division of Ecological Restoration, DER, is now accepting culvert replacement project inquiry / expression of interest calls. Fill out the project inquiry form before January 10th. Looks like that was missed.
Passed.
All right, we're gonna skip that one. This is from Katie O. Page.
Is that the assistant treasurer? Or
From
does she
Mass.gov.
work- Oh, Mass.gov.
Yeah. So flag for follow-up meeting, planning board, Happy New Year's. Please see below for the updated FEMA flood mapping project for the Nashua River watershed. FEMA has issued the letter of final determination for both Middlesex County and Worcester County this week. I have attached your community's letter for your files. The effective date of the flood insurance rate map, FIRM, and the flood insurance study, FIS, report will be July 8th, 2025. As a reminder, as a participating community in the National Flood Insurance Program, you are required to update your local floodplain regulations to include the new effective date of the FIRM and the FIS, both the abbreviated. When I or others talk about adopting the maps, this is what we're referring to. Additionally, if you have not already, you will need to adopt the required bylaws in the MA floodplain model bylaw. Communities that do not accomplish both of these by the effective date risk being suspended by the NFIP. Next steps, letter of final determination. FEMA will be sending these letters to each community's governing body, most likely the select board. Please confirm the effective date noted in the letter. Floodplain bylaw / ordinance review. Please provide your schedule for updating your floodplain regulations, including the dates of any anticipated planning board hearings and the dates of either town meeting or town council. Kindly note that you must share your final draft with our office for a detailed final review prior to the town meeting or town council vote on the updated regulations. And viewing the new flood insurance rate maps and flood insurance study, there are links for those.
Okay, so Beth, is that something that Adam is taking care of for Townsend?
Adam? Did you say?
Adam preparing the
No,
bylaw?
what this is in reference to is, if you recall, the board had a visit from Katie not too long ago talking about these. So at this point, we are on track to adopt the amended zoning floodplain bylaw in the spring. We have, so Jessica took care of that. She did the updates, but I think, of course, it hasn't been reviewed by town council yet, but there's still time for that. So it's kind of been on the back burner until we get through fall town meeting. But yeah, the town is going to be able to update everything as soon as, even the zoning map. So spring town meeting. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. This is an exciting one. It says, this is from Nelson. He says it is with great pleasure that he announced the following 2 new appointments in the land use department. Both individuals will start in their new role this coming Monday. That was on January 9th. So it seems they've already started. Aaron, who's joined us on the call, has been promoted to supervise the department as our land use coordinator. Aaron's environmental experience is extensive, as well as her work history in media and communications. Prior to coming on board in Townsend as our housing and grant administrator, Aaron worked for the town of Concord, first as a public information and communications manager for the town manager's office, and then as a senior planner for their Department of Planning and Land Management. Aaron has a master's degree in city and regional planning, a bachelor's degree in environmental policy, and graduate certificates in local government leadership and management and urban policy and planning. Aaron, welcome. And congrats.
We're very happy, Aaron.
So then the next one is Colby Streeter has been hired as our conservation agent, working under the direction of Aaron Steffield. Colby's history of 10 years with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, surveying the presence of invasive species, making recommendations for removal, publicly announcing quarantines, and other similar actions, along with over 25 years as an arborist / owner of Empire of Dirt Farm and Forestry, while simultaneously serving in the U.S. Army National Guard, surveying and designing construction projects will surely benefit the town's conservation initiatives. Please join me in congratulating Erin on her promotion and welcoming Colby to our team from Nelson, our town administrator.
And we do.
This is a inter-office memorandum. This is from Nelson. The subject is Buy Recycled Town policy. So this memo is a reminder of the select board's established policy to encourage the purchase of recycling products for the purpose of our municipal government whenever practicable. This policy is consistent with our intent to be a leader in environmental practice through an active and highly successful recycling program, as well as our other ongoing initiatives. With many new members of boards, committees, and departments, it is important that all are aware of our Buy Recycled policy. Our purchasing recycled items contributes to a healthier market for these materials, increasing demand and acceptance of earth-friendly products. As you are aware, the town has been actively engaged in recycling a number of products for some time. We've been doing a good job collecting these materials, but it is very important to understand that a successful recycling system does not end there. As public sector purchasers, we need to focus on completing the recycling process by purchasing products made with recycled materials. Buying products made from recycled material is critical to our efforts. If we don't purchase recycled products, there is no economic motivation for manufacturers to use the raw materials that we do recycle. Additionally, the recycling industries are adding jobs daily, and this significantly impacts the state's economy. In the past, recycling products may have represented less quality and cost more, but tremendous advances from innovative technology and increased demand have resulted in recyclable products that are extremely cost competitive and high quality. Many routine purchases container recycling content, such as toilet tissue, paper towels, trash bags, and copy paper. Please review our town's Buy Recycled policy, which is attached. Please remember this policy the next time you place an order with a vendor and encourage them to provide us with products containing recycled materials. I will opt not to read the specific policy, but I believe the memo is sufficient of the intent.
Very thorough.
Yes. Okay, here we go. This is the funner stuff. The notice of decision. This is from the town of Lunenburg. This was for PJ Keating Company. It was an approved site plan approval. There's no details. It just says that it was endorsed by the planning board. That was for the town of Lunenburg. This is the town of Pepperell. Notice of public hearing. The town of Pepperell zoning bylaw, the zoning board of appeals will hold a public hearing regarding the application by a Ronald L. Boucher requesting a special permit, which, if granted, would allow a new accessory apartment to be attached to the existing primary residential structure. The subject property is located at 142 South Road, Pepperell, Mass. Shown as tax map 37, parcel 65-0. The public hearing will be January 15th, 2025 at 7:05 p.m. All interested parties are welcome to attend. And then here we have the town of Groton, planning board, public hearing notice, special permits, Hammerhead lot, and shared driveway, 101 Longley Road. The planning board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, January 23rd, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. at the town hall, considering an application by Christopher Curtis under the provisions of the zoning bylaw, section 218-6.4, Hammerhead lots, and 218-8.1F, shared driveways. The applicant proposes to create one new lot by subdividing the existing residential lot at 101 Longley Road into two lots utilizing the existing driveway as shown on the plan entitled Hammerhead Lot Residential Site Development Plan, 101 Longley Road, Groton, Massachusetts, prepared by Landplex. Copies are available at the town hall, and they welcome you to join. So here we have a notice of decision from the town of Pepperell. Applicant is a Fabio Lacerda on behalf of the Leon Shattuck Family Trust. Location, the subject property is located at 147 Nashua Road, just east of the intersection of Dow Street and Nashua Road, and is owned by the Leon Shattuck Family Trust / Citizens Bank. The subject property is shown on tax map 6 as parcel 70 and is located within the industrial zoning district. Relief requested: special permit, major site plan review, and a land disturbance permit to permit the construction of a container yard for vehicular storage / staging and a storage and office building associated with the same on a 3.3 acre site. Decision of the board granted with conditions. Date of decision December 16th. I believe. A
note from Aaron.
A note from Aaron.
Little update.
A quick note from Aaron, land use coordinator. As a note on 4.3, culvert replacement notice, we are planning to apply for Bixby Brook at Old Meeting House Road. What a good idea. I am planning on applying for funding for culvert replacement design, reports, engineering, and all other necessary environmental and engineering permits to get us to 100% design so we can bid ready and apply for construction funds the next time the grant opens. I have been working with Jim Smith from Highway and I've reached out to the NRWA and are working to partner with them on this. They have agreed to create a letter of support and plan to partner with us going forward if awarded. Fantastic.
Okay.
One thought I had though, when we were reading about Groton's Hammerhead lot, would a Hammerhead lot, I think at one point, maybe we talked briefly about exploring Hammerhead lots.
We
Like-
have some in town.
Do we have a bylaw for it? Do we need a bylaw?
I don't know that.
No, we don't.
I don't
That
know.
came up in town meeting like 5 years ago. There was a lot of interest in allowing hammerhead lots. But-
Can you, ask, I know that he's not on the call anymore, but can you ask Mr. Doyle about that? Hammerhead lots. Regarding a bylaw.
So would that be a DLTA project or no?
I don't know, ask Karen.
Okay.
We only
So-
have the thoughts, we don't have the answers.
But there was a need, there was a,
Yeah.
Is there anything in the bylaw about hammerhead lots now? Because I'm not
No.
familiar with it. Nothing.
I don't know, no.
I don't think we do.
Okay.
But, and even if you, see it, do you know what hammerhead lot is?
I just have to look it up.
Oh,
right
okay.
now. I seem to be
He's good
one
like
of them called hammerheads.
Very research. We do have, I think it's actually on Bayberry Hill Road. Maybe one set. And one driveway,
Oh,
and then one behind the other. The lots are behind each other.
sure.
Yeah. And
But some,
I think a
I
couple
see
other places
properties
too.
like that though.
There's a few, there's not
So
many.
how it happened, I don't know. It's.
I mean, right across
years
the
ago.
street from me. There are houses right on the,
Oh, the one that says,
Oh, yeah, there's one behind
It's
he's
another.
a
some-
lawyer,
yeah, an
Employment
attorney
lawyer.
that
Yeah,
does,
No, that's not the one.
but that one seems more, I mean, they got like a separate driveway, it looks like. It's not
or a
like shared.
common driveway or
I think it's
something.
Isn't there one right on Old City? Not Old City. What's corner
Tyler
are you
Road?
on?
Turner Road? No.
No.
Um,
Your street,
That's Old
Old
City.
City Road.
Old
and-
City Road.
Yeah,
Go down, house on the left, after the house on the corner.
yeah,
It's set way, way, way back.
yes.
That's like at the end. I don't know if that's Hammerhead though.
How did those happen? They must have, because they wouldn't have met the front yard requirements, the frontage requirements.
Would have been a waiver. Somebody just-
Could be
Say what? Got a
a
waiver?
waiver or a variance or whatever. Well, variance would have come from
It
zoning
wouldn't be a variance, it'd have to be a special permit.
or variance and zoning,
Well,
at zoning.
enough of us
Yeah.
wondering about it. We'll
Yeah.
see what Beth says when she talks to
Okay,
Joseph.
all
Right.
right.
And can I just ask what town that was again? Was that Groton that you read or Lunenburg?
That was Groton.
Groton. Okay, yeah, I know they have a bylaw. I'll look it up for the board and I'll circulate that.
Okay, thank you.
And find out what ours is, if we have
I
any.
think, yeah, and I think
think we
Pepperell has one too. And I
Okay.
think Ashby has one.
Okay, I'll find them all
Or if
and
they don't have the
circulate them.
bylaw, they have hammerhead lots.
Right.
They do have hammerhead lots.
Okay.
Okay, we also received a letter from a board member, that had to do with a, one Depot Street, vote that the board took after a public hearing. And this is what I want to tell you, the public hearing is closed. And so all discussion was done then, and the votes were done, and it passed. So any discussion now would be as a citizen at town meeting floor.
Say what?
Your letter,
Yes.
this is the same letter I was read before? Maybe not. Beth, I thought there was a letter here in the portal.
Mhm.
The one, did you write a letter about One Depot Street extension?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with town meeting though.
Oh, what is it? It has nothing to do with, no, it has nothing to do with town meeting. Right,
No, it doesn't.
right. Okay, sorry. Too much up here.
That's okay. Mad cow.
So, what, I don't think there's anything else to do as far as the board goes.
Yes, there is.
I think I read the mass law,
Yeah,
and it said something about you could redo something within the mass law.
the section 81W, that the planning board on its own motion or the petition of any interested person shall have the power to modify, amend, or rescind its approval of a plan of a subdivision or to require a change in a plan as condition of its retaining the status of an approved plan. Now, we had a public hearing. We had several meetings on it. There was discussion and we had a vote. You're saying that you would like to rescind it,
I'm petitioning this board
to rescind it.
to rescind it.
And if that's a motion that you have, is there a second?
I think it should be for discussion here. I pointed out in my letter the various reasons supporting the rescinding of that vote.
A lot of which was discussed during the public hearing.
I'm sorry. The way I remember that hearing, there was a lot of haste in getting that decision through. I remember being the only one standing up and looking at the site plan. And I can't see where this board could approve a land use plan for a project that did not even comply with the zoning bylaw. First of all, I have some comments to make about why we should have even been in that position. First of all, the applicant hired a professional consultant. That professional consultant should have advised him of the zoning requirements here that are already established in our zoning bylaw for this particular use. That consultant had an obligation to tell his client that it would not conform with the bylaw. Secondly, a plan was prepared that does not conform with the bylaw, was submitted to us through our process, land use process, where again, it should have been, the owner should have been advised at that time it did not comply with the zoning. Then the plan that we got and what was discussed at this meeting was not only relief on the density requirement, relief on the setback requirement, requesting an approval for a building profile designation and without resubmitting a new profile. Meaning he asked this board, will you accept if I encroach a little bit? Now, I really appreciate being on this board and every member on the board. So this is not a criticism, and I don't want people to take it personally because we have worked together collectively. What I am pointing out to this board is that plan never should have become before our table because they had zoning issues to begin with. And the fact, we don't know if it went for zoning approval or not prior to coming to our board. Secondly, the plan obviously didn't meet the setback requirements established by our own bylaw. That bylaw was approved by the town. We have no authority to change that. In fact, at an earlier meeting when the town council was here, he advised this board accordingly. So now, how is that interpreted? How does that impact the other board? So assuming he didn't go to zoning and came to us first, and we approved something, that puts them in a more awkward pressure
Zoning
position.
approved it.
Huh?
Zoning approved it.
Zoning did
Zoning
approve it.
did approve it.
Well, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, and they were actually in favor of it before our final vote. Bill was at one of our meetings. I can't remember which one.
But yeah, zoning
Yeah,
did approve
They
it.
approved it.
Well,
But you have to, if I may, Robert, it wasn't just cut and dry zoning, okay? We were looking at an age-restricted development.
mhm,
We were looking at something that was within walking distance
Mm.
to, I mean, it met other criteria of what we were trying to do. And it was in sandy soil with town water.
listen, I'm not opposed to the use. I'm
I
not,
thought you weren't.
huh?
I thought you weren't.
I'm not.
And nothing's
It's a
cut and
perfect
dry.
location for that use.
Can I just jump in here for a moment? The citation you made to MGL Section 81W is actually referring to subdivision control, and that's, subdivision approval. What you did with this one was a special permit. So we're talking about two different things. I just wanted the board to know that
It does say subdivision.
his petition is unfortunately invalid because of that fact. You cannot rescind that. It's a special permit decision, not a subdivision control law.
Okay, but I think we understand where you're coming from, Robert, and I hope that you can see the good that's coming out of this, even though it's not to the letter or the T.
As far as variance goes, that's zoning board. As far as this board goes, we have an obligation to comment on any site plan and how it works and if it's beneficial for the town or not, okay? So on that basis alone,
Beneficial for the town.
wait a minute,
You said the words. And what will happen there is beneficial for the town.
it doesn't meet all, no, it's not 100% beneficial for the town. Yes, that person is using this facility, all right, this location under the pretext that is for aging people. That site plan was not designed for aging people, okay? None of you stood up and looked at it. Do you know?
I stood up and walked there.
Did
I saw
you
what were
see
saying.
what he put down for outdoor space for the people?
Robert, we do get the plans ahead of time too.
Yeah. and
By
we
virtue of
had
not
the
standing up to
public
look at it, doesn't mean we
hearings.
didn't look at it.
All right, what
Yeah.
I'm asking you, do you remember what he provided for the people in the neighborhood? As a part of the one of the site benefits,
the outside, whatever.
picnic tables. That's what he was giving to the aged people. Aged people are in wheelchairs. They're on walkers.
I know there should be benches, but who are we to tell
That-
them what to put there?
No, it's subject to our approval.
I will have to admit that part of me regretted saying yes, only because of the setback requirements. Because after I left here, I would have been happier if he had 4 units instead of 5 units, because I think with the 4 units, he would have met all the setback requirements. And I just felt like he was pushing in that extra unit. Part of me voted yes for the benefit, but then the other part of me after I left was kind of like, you know, I felt like I was being not from you, but I just felt that they were a little bit of a snake oil people. That was just my feeling after I left here. That's my only comment. I agree it's a benefit. I would have been happier with 4 units, and I think the setback requirements would have been easily more better met. But that's water under the bridge. But
I don't, there's a certain hypocrisy here. I remember shortly, not long ago, an applicant came here that want to convert a commercial business right here on Main Street for apartments. We granted him that. I remember the conversations. Okay, we spent a lot of time talking about lighting, talking about the architectural style. All right, those are the kinds of things that we are being charged to do here, to put this in a very real world, in a very real term. So what we were given was a drainage layout. We had an opportunity to say, well, even though the zoning board allows you to have that, we don't feel that it's appropriate. So I don't know why the zoning board did what it did. Okay, they have, as far as I'm concerned, they had no, I just doesn't make sense as to why they did what they did. I presented those discussions to this board, so I will consent that we don't have jurisdiction on zoning if they had already got approval. But the fact that he got released from density, in other words, the intent of that bylaw was to allow for this kind of housing and to assist a developer in providing that kind of housing,
Right.
if they met minimum requirements.
Okay, so but in this case, we talked about triggers. It's sandy soil with town water. And there's a lot of other benefits to the discussion. Plus the tax base.
No, nobody's saying you
And-
can't
and-
put that kind of housing there. I'm saying what he was proposing shouldn't have been there.
I mean, everybody has a right to their opinion. I think that most of us spoke when we gave our thoughts,
Well,
and
I just felt that I was trying to communicate some things that I thought were significant in terms of quality of life, in terms of interest of the town. I wasn't opposing the number of units. I definitely told him he could do better, and there were other alternatives. So this is not about ground. This is not about proximity to water and the downtown.
But
Yeah.
that's part of it. That's part of the pluses of it.
That's the only reasons he's even entitled to apply for it. Those are basic criteria. He's asking for relief from a lot of other things here. Why? Everybody knows what the rules
Oh,
are
sorry.
before they apply.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Erin, you have your hand up? I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. I just want to, I think that Robert, your letter is, very descriptive and very helpful in seeing your point of view. And I 100% hear where you're coming from. I think that it's important to remember that as the decision has already been written and filed and voted by this board, it is final unless some, big information came to light, something that really changed the decision. So, for instance, if you learned that the acreage wasn't 1.3 acres, it was half an acre, and there was no way that you could fit all those. If something that was really big came to light, then that might change and make you so that you could reopen the decision. But as it stands, this decision has to stand as it was written and voted. But perhaps this is sort of a learning exercise for the next time something like this comes up, and we can use this as a learning opportunity. And perhaps, this is something that came up with the age-restricted developments, in that that's why you're looking at the bylaw, right, for town meeting, because there are some issues there, and this is the way that we find ways to work those out. So,
I guess I should have petitioned not the planning board, but the zoning board.
Well, they have also issued their decision at this point. So I think that unfortunately, this is a conversation which it's a good exercise, but I don't know how much further it can go. I did speak briefly with Adam, our town council, about it, just to see sort of what the options were. And there aren't a lot, unfortunately. It's something that, it could be explored, but it would be very difficult, and it would be sort of a very steep uphill battle, I think, to really look into reopening it. And without something new coming to light, I think it would be very difficult to make a case for why this decision needed to be, and the vote needed to be reopened.
And personally, I believe in the developer, and that ultimately it's going to be a good product that comes out of this, and it's going to look better than you think it's going to look. I mean, he's a townie. I can tell you that a lot of the longtime people here have done a lot for this community that people don't even know about, but they have done a lot. And
don't redirect this, okay? I'm not opposed to the use, and I'm not opposed with the developer, okay? That is not the topic here.
Okay.
The topic here is this board knows what the zoning bylaw says. Even though the zoning board said, okay, doesn't mean that we have to. We know what the bylaw said. And to me, that was a minimum standard. How can I possibly support that? Excuse me, I'm done.
Okay.
The issue is done, but I need to vocalize this.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your opinion.
And I do not have any animosity to anybody on this board, okay? I am trying all of us to understand how we're going to approach this now and in the future. And everybody's entitled to their permit and opinion, and everyone should be respected for what they are. And so, thank you.
Thank you. Could you excuse yourself for this next one thing, and then come back in, okay?
Yeah, sure, perfect.
All right, thank you. Okay, the last piece of correspondence that was in our file was in reference to Lockbrook solar array 22 West Meadow Road Stormwater Management Annual. We received a letter from the Vice President of Operations and Maintenance of the solar array farm.
Existing, it's existing.
Existing.
Yes,
Yeah, we
okay.
approved it a while ago. And there was, I guess there was an annual, yeah, August, I'll read it to you. The Town of Townsend Planning Board, the report provides, no, that's not the report. The report provides information specific to stormwater management annual inspection list. August 23rd, NextAmp replaced 3 screening trees as required by the annual report conducted by Beals and Thomas. October 8th, 2024, NextAmp notified of landscaping outside of lease area at 22 West Meadow Road as seen in photo 1. October 20.
I think I remember
So
this.
NextAmp, oh, you remember it?
I remember reading it. It's something about the owner was taking the trees down or moving the trees or doing something
Okay.
to the vegetation that they planted.
All right, and then October 16th, 2024, NextAmp, I can't say that name, NextAmp inspection, photo 2, establish vegetation. Okay, so, okay, there was growth. NextAmp had no knowledge of the landscaping being completed and did not give approval for the removal of the existing hedgerow and screening trees planted by NextAmp. The detention basin, culverts, and swales appear to be unchanged. Okay, so if the, let's see, either Aaron or Beth, the detention basin, culverts, and swales appear to be unchanged. Is there an issue with that?
No, this was a significant change, and per our bylaws, it has to be brought to the planning board. So when we discovered that the site work was done, the NextAmp, the permit holder, was asked to come in, actually to file a report outlining the changes and report to the planning board as part of the regulation. So that's what they've done here.
Okay.
And yeah, so as you will, yeah.
You had said perhaps we'll just address this at the next annual.
Yes, the vegetative screen. I'm sorry?
I mean, the right photo looks better than the left.
Right. So as the board members recall, there was a vegetative screening for the array, a number of trees that were there. Those have been removed. And so they've been removed and it's been grassed. So that is part of the site plan approval that was approved in 2019. And the board is responsible for monitoring the health of that vegetative screen. And every year an annual report comes in from Beals and Thomas, and they provide an update on the health status of the vegetation. So again, the board will be looking at this again in July timeframe when that report is generated. And this just had to come to the attention of the board.
So I did call the owner. So the trees that were planted there caused some other kind of vegetation that was really ugly. And he didn't want his land to look like that. Now, in hindsight, I understand what you're saying. He should have come to the planning board and said, these have to come down. Look at what it's doing. Okay, but that didn't happen. So I'm hoping that we can amicably work this out with the owner. Because actually what's his name? Lawrence Provost. I I don't think that he is, I mean, I'm sure wants it to be as it was permitted kind of thing, but he's not upset that the trees are gone or that the vegetation that fell upon that area.
My understanding, if I can recall,
It's not,
was that the trees were dying.
oh, that might have been, he said something about an infestation, so he wasn't gonna leave it there.
There was at one point, they replaced some of the dead trees, because I remember maybe a year or so ago.
Something's not lasting, you're right, I remember
There
that.
was a girl from the company that came and they showed pictures, and some of the vegetation some of the trees hadn't taken, so they pulled them out and they put something different in that was a different
But
species.
it caused something else to happen.
It
It caused something else to happen.
Irregardless, any changes should have gone through planning.
But if somebody other than the company took the trees down, you can't really blame the company.
No, it was the owner of the land.
So,
Well,
okay,
Well, they know what their requirements
Yeah.
are. And the whole purpose of this is to identify when they're not complying. And so this is a non-compliance issue, and we've got to come up with a remedy.
and his opinion is for the better. So Beth, I'm hoping that you can work this out.
Okay, so this would not be me. This would be the process here is the board reviews this report. It's your, it's basically the board is monitoring that vegetative screening. So at the next, my suggestion is just, I wouldn't have any involvement at all, but you will have one more report on this vegetative screening in coming up in the summer. And the board would always have the option to ask for another kind of screening, either a fence, screening, whatever, but the main purpose for that vegetative screening was a visual screen from West Meadow Road to the array.
So can I propose something?
Well, if things are dying that you're putting there, or there's another infestation because of what you put there, why would you keep it there?
Well, I think what we need right now is to notify the owner that we're find him in non-compliance, and to appear here and explain this to everybody. And
Well, Beth, didn't you notify the owner?
No, I did not. This is a report that's submitted every year. It is from the permit holder, not the landowner. So every year, Nexamp, as the leasee and the permit holder, does provide an annual stormwater management inspection list where this was noted. So that's why it's before the board. There's nothing else been done, nothing else at all. That's simply a report that was come to the board.
And we're aware of the report and find that he's not complying with the terms, and to appear here so that we can find a remedy or find out what to do.
And I would say it would be the permit holder, not the owner. It's
Well,
the,
the
it's
owner owns the property, the solar collection thing is
operator.
like a lease, right? So
Yeah.
the responsible party is the owner.
No, the responsible party is the permit holder of the array.
All right, well.
That's who the permit was.
We'll see if we can figure this out nicely, okay?
Yeah,
We have to read more into it than it is. This is not life and death.
yeah, I would recommend just waiting until the spring and just looking at the report in the spring.
Okay.
Well, don't you think the permit holder and the landlord should be advised of our concern at this point?
They have been.
They have?
They have been.
Not officially.
Not officially?
No, unofficially. I have not had any communication with the landowner. I've only received this report from Nexamp, and previous land use coordinator Jessica did have correspondence with Nexamp. That's in your folders. So as the permit holder, that is the primary responsible party. So they would have to come in and work it out, not the owner. Yeah.
Right.
I was required to keep my 34 blueberry bushes alive for 3 years, so a couple of they made me replant them.
Is that Alabama?
That's pretty
That's
much
here.
what happens.
Here, what are you talking about?
Where?
Yeah, at my house.
Parker Hill Road.
We
Really?
have blueberry bushes that are planted along the brook
Was
area.
that in your?
Okay, I want to end this discussion, so can you get,
I think they.
Andrew, please? Were you able to eat the blueberries?
Oh, they all died.
Oh.
I had to replant them. Andrew.
I got them growing wild everywhere.
Anything growing in my pine forest. Okay, guys, so next is number 5.
Are we
education
gonna
and
take
training.
any action on that?
No, we're gonna wait until,
Spring.
June, the next
The next report.
report. That's what
They
Beth just
haven't-
said.
The petitioner and the landowner are not even aware there's an issue.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. She said they have not been notified. We only have a report.
That's who notified you by the regulations. That's exactly what they were supposed to do. So the landowner has no involvement at all at this time. It's strictly between the town and the permit holder, and the permit holder is Nexamp. Does that help?
And Beth's recommendation is that we wait for the next report to come in. Is that right?
Yeah, I would. That's what I would do as a board at this time. Yeah,
Or if next one come in?
and they can Nexamp. Yeah, they can come in at that time.
Well, I can't say where it's gonna get better.
I don't think it's gonna get worse.
No, the stormwater management system, as it says in the letter, does
Looks
not
fine.
appear, it does not appear to be, it appears unchanged. So you're not worried about the stormwater management system. The only thing the board will look at in the spring/summer is whether or not that view shed is something that you would like to have, maybe a different type or not at all, but it's entirely up to the board. It's in the bylaw, but it's up to the board to decide in the summer what you want to do.
Is it there?
We
Yes,
can,
we
I
did.
think I might have gone too. I've been there at one time
Yeah.
anyway. So
I
then
think we went
with that
twice.
first woman,
There was a woman, and then I
from the
know
company.
and then she came
But
back.
anyway, Beth, I think, is everybody okay with Beth's suggestion?
Yes.
Okay, we just wait, not you.
No.
Okay, number 5, like I said, not life or death. Education and training, 5.1, everybody can see that, the training collaborative, fall, winter workshops. 5.2, planning board member resource library for you there. And anybody here have to do ethics training? I made myself a note.
How do we, I know it's yearly. Do we get
Well,
notified?
Kathy sent me,
You don't have to
is
do
it
it every
yearly
year.
or 2 years? Every 2 years? Every 2
2 years.
years?
Oh, is it every 2?
I think mine's next year.
Oh.
Okay, so I don't know. I got a notice from Kathy Spofford, and I thought I did it last year, but I tried to go in and it wouldn't give me access to go in.
Oh,
So I don't know if they just sent it to me because of the new position and like,
oh,
whatever,
maybe.
I'll have to check with her.
Well, if
just-
you hold more than one position, why do you have to take it again?
You shouldn't have to take it, but I probably get all the notices. So the next meeting is January 27th, 2025, and February 10th, 2025. The fall town meeting is scheduled for January 28th, 2025. And, okay, at that meeting, Beth, who's gonna be presenting the warrant articles?
Well, that's again the discussion that you can have. I can draft the reports to town meeting, and then you can decide that on January 27th, or you can decide it tonight. It doesn't matter. There are 3 warrant articles. They're fairly complex. They may be a lot of questions. So it's up to the board what you want to do in terms of presenting them.
Well, Adam should be there as
Mhm.
far as, and I'll be a selectman.
But I'm gonna be there representing the finance board,
You're not gonna be there?
So she's gonna be there on the.
but I'm on the finance, but
She's
I'll
gonna
be on the
represent
finance
finance.
board.
You don't wanna do them both? They're not gonna be the same thing.
I don't
All
know which
right.
was worse.
Well, on the 27th, I guess we'll decide. Find out from Adam. Who's gonna read the warrant articles? that
I
night.
think maybe we want Aaron to help draft that, so on the 27th, we're really have something.
Yeah, they're gonna write up something that you'd be
Okay.
reading.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Thank
there
you,
will be
Erin.
that.
thank you.
That will be there. And that's it. If there's no objection, I can call the meeting adjourned at 8:17. 8:17. I'm going with 8:17
I'll
PM.
second that motion.
Couldn't say I do not object.
Yeah.
For
Are you
that deal-
objecting?
No, well, 30 seconds.
Okay.
For that DLTA thing, for the
Yeah.
economic development thing, I don't mind writing some bullet points up for Joe to consider when he's responding to that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
We can talk about it on next meeting.
yeah.
That'd be great.
Why don't you send them to Beth?
I know we don't have very much time, or I can send it to Beth and
Send it to Beth and then she
Send it
can put it in the portal.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be good, because any other suggestions should go to him really like this week.
yeah, he doesn't have much time.
Thank you for doing that. Okay, we are adjourned at 8:18 PM.